Bella Vista Community Television presents Bella Vista and Beyond. Today our hosts are Nancy Noyes and Mike Cleary, and we will be talking about Sally and Me, the early Bella Vista history, and what is going on with the Bella Vista Library and its new expansion. And now to the studio for our program.
I'm Nancy Noyes, and this is my co-host, Mike Cleary.
Thank you for tuning in to Bella Vista Community Television. Nancy, looks like your guest is ready to go, so I'll leave you to it.
Okay, thanks, Mike. Many of us are interested in history, and my guest, Constance May Weddell, has lived an extraordinary history. She's 92 years old and has remembered many things about early Bella Vista. Welcome, Constance. We're so glad you're here.
Thank you. I'm glad to be here, Nancy.
Can you tell us how your parents came to Bella Vista back in the day?
I'd love to. Daddy was a man of the hills. He lived way back in the woods, and suddenly about 12 years of age, he decided to break out, and he joined Hyla Morgan tours. You may have never heard of that, but those were tours that went to all of the rural areas and brought education and culture with a troupe that did such things as Shakespeare and Daddy Longlegs, and not the usual venue for them. So Daddy was with him for many years, and it's amazing because Hyla Morgan, that was the person's name, had her own personal train. She was related to New York, and she traveled all over, though, in Northwest Arkansas also. So he was with them, and I think it was really an education for him. So, but he came to Bentonville, Arkansas. They did their show, and then he heard about this resort that was being built in Bella Vista, and he decided that would be a great thing. I'll just try that. So he went on and gave his life to C.A. Linebarger, the then owner of Bella Vista Summer Resort.
I notice you have some lovely boas.
Yes.
What's that about?
Well, it's curious, isn't it? I thought I wanted you to be curious because I want to tell you about what it was like when I was a little girl. I was born in a house in Bella Vista, and when I was very young, the Linebergers, her own Bella Vista, didn't have any children by then. And so Aunt Ray, I called her then, said, just get in my closet. You can put on my evening gowns or my high heels or whatever you'd like to, my furs. And she also had boas. So wherever I go, I always have boas with me. But that particular night that I remember, I dressed in my boas and her high heel shoes and wobbled in to make my elegant entrance, and then I fell flat on my face. So that was the end of my time with boas until now.
Well, they're beautiful. They really are. Well, you have written a remarkable book called Sally and Me.
Yes.
And I read this book and I loved it. I thought it was just wonderful. Tell us about the book.
Well, all through the years I'd been telling my 4 sons all these stories about Bella Vista, and sort of bedtime stories, and they just loved it. And one day I found my diaries in a musty old trunk, and I realized these are really true. And it just came to me that I should get them down for my grandchildren and for maybe Sally's grandchildren. It was written for Sally and me. And my son, who was an artist here in Arkansas, decided that he could do the illustrations for it, son Wynn Norton. And that's how Sally and Me was born.
Why did you decide to write this book?
Well, again, it was about grandchildren and great-grandchildren, and also I think it was about Daddy and Mother too, and some things that would never be, and probably never would have been said if I hadn't lived to be this long. And also, as I was getting ready for today, and I was thinking last night, really, it really was to preserve the most unique and exciting personality I've ever known, and that was Sally.
Did you remain friends with Sally throughout her life?
Yes, after we were gone from Bella Vista, she still visited, and she knew all my high school friends, and they loved her, and she loved them, and I visited her in Tulsa. The last visit I had was when each of us had our first children, little babies, Wendy and her Leslie. And but I have to say that she did die at a very young age, and I still miss her every day.
I'm sure you do. So how did you meet Sally originally?
Well, there's a great swimming pool at Bella Vista. We had the plunge was huge, actually, even in today's standards for a resort pool. And we had a wheel that you could get on, climb up the back of it and go off into the water. And also we had a spinning top that you could stand on, maybe 4 or 5 of you, and when you got it level, turn the wheel and actually run around it and spin. Anyway, so Sally and I were swimming that day, and I taught her how to do a cannonball, you know what that is, or a preacher seat, and she taught me something you may have never heard, Nancy, but she said you lean over like that and fall into the water, and when you do, you magically come up in a somerset. So that was it.
Well, what time period did this all take place?
Well, in the pictures you have one pretty early. I think the one in the spillway with Ronnie and me, my little cousin, was a little bit earlier than the time frame of Sally and me stories, but it was a great day because Lillian Green, the photographer, who was CA's secretary, was taking this very professional picture. It took her a long time, and you see in the picture that he had a little, like a fishing pole, a stick and a line on it, but there was nothing on the end of the line, but I had a safety pin. So while we were waiting for the shot, he tied the safety pin onto the line and he caught a fish. So that made the picture, and she was one of those that she sold for postcards or other things. She was a great publicist. Yeah.
Now, the Sunset Hotel, which unfortunately is no longer with us, was quite a spectacular facade. Can you tell us about that hotel?
Yes, and I think that was another purpose in my book, was to recreate landmarks for people who live in Bella Vista now or visit Bella Vista, because almost all of them are gone. And I would think that you would say it was a magical and mystical place. That was Sunset Hotel. Awesome is an overused word, I think, but it was awesomely extravagant and beautiful. I can remember the CA brought in a lot of all black waiters who stood at attention with a towel over their arm, and you could look in and see the beautiful dining room with great jardinières of colored glass, and really it was, and all the people who came dressed, of course, in those days in elegant gowns. It was very formal and beautiful, and there was a view. Honestly, you could drive almost any direction toward Bella Vista and you'd see the Sunset Hotel like a beacon on the hill. Beautiful.
I'm sorry it's not still here today. I really am. Well, the Wonderland Cave holds particular fascination for a lot of us. Can you tell us about that?
You know that it ended up being on Ripley's Believe It or Not?
Oh.
CA and Ray traveled extensively all the 9 months that we weren't a summer resort in season. And so they were in Paris and they found this nightclub or venue of some sort, and CA said, with an ingenious idea, and he did wire Whitey, and that's what they called Daddy by then, as a nickname, and they want to wire Whitey and tell him to explore that cave, and we'll have an underground nightclub. And Daddy did. And it again was a mystical place, because as you walk down into the cave, you can imagine it in a hot summer night in your evening gown or your tuxedo. Again, it was an elegant dance. You came to a rock room with rock walls, rock ceiling, and dripping cold water and 52 degrees, and everything was lovely until the hot band got going with its 40s music, big band music. And Daddy and Mom were the hosts and hostess of Wonderland Cave dances by the time I was able to remember. And so Dad came in with his blackjack in his pocket, covered up by his suit, just in case anybody got rowdy, and they didn't much. And Mother was either the hostess for the night, or sometimes she was in charge of the waitresses. And it was, it really was something that was unique in all of the United States, an underground nightclub.
Well, even though the Wonderland Cave is no longer open, sadly, I was thrilled to go there one time with my husband and his cousin and his wife on New Year's Eve. And just like you said, going through the winding path, which was all lit up by the beautiful ball lights, was so exciting. And we got in there, and there were booths, and there was the rock all around us, and they had a live band, like I imagine they did in the 40s. It was just magical. It was so much fun. We just had the best time. So every year back then, they had what they called emancipation dances, which featured the black people. They could only go there one time a year, and it was at midnight. And yet they would go in all their finery and do the dances, and the owners charged 25 cents a piece for the white people to come in and watch the black people do the dances, because apparently the black people at the time knew just how to jitterbug and just how to do the dances. And so that was pretty popular. Do you remember that?
Oh, yes, I do. I remember that. And I remember that it was, you could see jitterbug on television, where they throw someone over their shoulder or go way down low, and it was really fantastic. It started out with not many people watching. It was in the upstairs of the pavilion, in the dance pavilion. That's where it took place. And it was so fascinating that the crowds grew and grew. And these were black people, and we didn't have any of those in Northwest Arkansas. We thought these were the people from the hotel who worked there, and also all of the chauffeurs and maids that came and stayed the whole summer with the wealthy people at Bella Vista. Yeah, the emancipation. And so he didn't have it, CA didn't have it June 10th like we think of, but he's had it at the end of the season so he could bring all those people there. And yes, eventually the crowds were so big that he decided to charge.
Oh, gosh. Well, how did your and Sally's children and grandchildren react to your book, Sally and Me?
Leslie was enchanted with it. That's Sally's older girl. She was Leslie, and she had Jimmy, the young boy. And once when we were in Dallas, I remember she was helping me with a signing, and I had to go out and get another load of books out of the trunk of the car, and I came back and she was having such a great time. Saying, "This is my mother." Yes, it was wonderful for her children and her grandchildren.
How did writing the book affect the rest of your life?
I think the writing, the adventure, I think that it gave me a chance to move the 40 times I've moved and to have all sorts of adventures and to realize, as I wrote the book, how incredible those young adventures were.
I understand that you earned the title of Miss Senior Arkansas. How did that come about?
Well, we were getting ready to go to Ecuador to pick up a grandchild that our daughter had adopted, and my mother-in-law said, "You need to try out for that." So I did. I mean, I wrote my philosophy, and I got in from Bella Vista. We had a home at that time for about 11 years here in Bella Vista, my husband and I. And so, I didn't think about it too much, but I came back, and it wasn't a beauty pageant as much as a philosophy of life and what you're doing with your life and maybe a little bit of presence. But I sang Mame and fell in love with that musical, and I won for Bella Vista, and later went on to national, and I should have sung Mame there because I was only in the top 10. But anyway, it was a thrill to me to say I'm from Bella Vista, Arkansas, and I am Miss Cedar, Arkansas. And I spoke for 3 years actually on the positive aspects of aging. Big line, but there was also the philosophy, I want to say, was to live is to love. It's longer than this, but to live is to love, and to be loving is to stay in constant communion with the one who is true love.
Exactly.
That's our God.
Well, now let's fast forward to the future. Tell us about your work in Chile.
Well, I married somebody who was an agronomist and an agricultural missionary, and we were administrators of Mount Sequoia at Fayetteville at that time. That was another adventure, and it was our 4th time out of retirement when we were invited to go to Chile, and Don was so thrilled about it. And I spent most of my time that first 2.5 years listening to the pain of the women who had suffered under eviction and torture and killing of their menfolk in their lives. I taught some English, and we were on this 3,600-acre farm where there was an agricultural school that he had been president of years before. So I flew back and forth and raised money for scholarships for the Mapuche Indians who came to that. That was
Excellent.
The second time, though, the last time rather, work teams from the States came because we went to El Tavo, Chile, and restored an old retreat center that had been closed during the dictatorship of Pinochet. And that was a tremendous adventure, too.
Well, that's just remarkable. Last question, Constance. Can you tell us your philosophy of life?
As I said earlier, it's faith and faith in God, but also I have to say that the song that I loved and when I sang Mame was, "Open a new window, open a new door, travel a new highway you've never been tried before you become a dull fellow, walking the same walk, walking the same tightrope as everyone on the block. So the fellow you have to be is three-dimensional, soaking up life down to your toes. And if they should say you're unconventional, just put up your thumb up to your nose and tell them how to dance to a new rhythm, whistle a new song, toast with a new vintage, because the fizz doesn't fizz too long. There's only one way to make the bubbles flow, simply travel a new highway, whistle a new song, and open a new window all day long." That's it.
Wonderful. Constance's book, Sally and Me, is available at the Bella Vista Historical Society, and I highly recommend it. Constance, thank you so much for being with us today.
I loved it.
It was great. For Nancy Noyes, this is Bella Vista and Beyond.
We will be right back. Stay tuned.
Bella Vista Community Television presents our sponsor appreciation. Audrey's Resale Boutique, located in Forest Hills. Find the perfect item for your home decor. Beautiful collections, quality clothing, and more. Make your dreams come true at Audrey's.
Welcome back. Here is our host, Mike Cleary.
Thank you for joining Bella Vista Community Television and Bella Vista and Beyond. My guest is Ashley Jones of the Friends of the Bella Vista Library. Welcome, Ashley. I'm glad you're here with us today.
Well, thanks for having me.
Now, tell me, we were talking earlier about the Bella Vista Library. Some people don't know Bella Vista actually has a library. It's just up the hill from town center. And you were telling me a story about when you went to other libraries, but you loved the Bella Vista one.
Well, my children actually were the ones that
Found it?
Yeah, they picked. So they wanted to keep going back to the library in the woods, they called it. So that's where we kept going, and we love it. So
Great. Now, the Friends of the Library is an organization that you are the president of this organization. What exactly do the Friends of the Library do?
Well, the Friends of the Library is a nonprofit. We're just basically public advocates of the library. And we provide for anything that the library wants or needs, that in addition to the city budget, that's in addition to it. So we take things that they need or want. So can we start over? I'm sorry. This is awful.
Well, now, what have you done for the library last year?
So last year we gave them a new signage in the front. That's a request that they had. We also were able to give them some new furniture in the teen area. They had to revamp that area. That's something that they wanted. We also gave them some new shelving for some books. And this year we've actually been able to jumpstart a project that the foundation is working on, which is to expand the parking lot.
Great. Now, the money that you generally acquire through the library is through the used books area. What do they call that?
It's called Encore Bookstore.
Encore Books, right?
And
It's in the library. And you couldn't access that last year because of the COVID shutdown at all. So that last year you didn't have a whole lot of revenue coming in.
No, we didn't have a whole lot of revenue coming in, and that's usually our main revenue stream is our Encore Bookstore, and that is ran completely with volunteers, and all of everything inside of it that we sell is all donations given to the library. So now that that's back up and running, we should have a steady amount of income. In addition to some pop-up book sales that we should have, we put together beautiful holiday baskets for seasonal things that we do, and we're just able to generate revenue through those ways.
So now the Friends of the Library are all volunteers, and you get together once a month at the library, right?
Yeah, we have our meetings once a month, and they are usually held the first Tuesday of the month at 9 a.m., and they're open to the public, so anyone can come and pitch their ideas, and we love having as many people as want to come.
So you need people to volunteer to join the Friends of the Library, not only for ideas of things that they can do with the revenue that they get in, or projects that they can do to increase the benefit the library, but also you need looking for more energetic people, because there's some things that you want to do that you need to have, I hate to say younger people, but more energetic people, because you
Yes.
want to do like a booth or something at the farmer's market or something like
We
that.
can always do booths at the farmer's market, or just anything that requires some heavy lifting or manpower.
Yeah,
and
manpower.
Just some new ideas. The demographics of Bella Vista have been changing quite rapidly. So with that, I think our volunteer force is going to start changing as well, and so we need to follow that pattern. So just some ways that I think that we can really help the library is just spreading the word. I mean, I don't know how many times I've talked to people that just don't even know that there's a library up there. So, you know, and then a lot of the times just utilizing your memberships. People don't realize that if you just utilize your membership and you really, you know, join the services that they have to offer, like the summer reading program, and the programs that they offer, the more numbers that they have a better opportunity for additional funding in the years coming. So that really helps out with all the kids that use the library. And a lot of people also don't realize that, you know, there's over 600 families that go to Cooper Elementary School alone that utilize the Bella Vista Library. So there's also, you know, you can volunteer at the Encore Bookstore. There's no prerequisites. Training is offered on the spot.
On-the-job training is great.
So especially during summertime, people have prior commitments and they go out of town and on vacation and have their kids and grandkids come to visit. So there's lots of spots available for people that, you know, want some volunteer opportunities in that way. And like I said, you can come to our meetings or just watch for our membership drives. That's going to happen later this year. And really just watch our Facebook page for updates, any updates that we have, and just the library's website in general. Just
the
keep
library's
a look at.
open again. It was not entirely closed, but it was mostly closed last year. But this year they're open again, and they have a lot of programs during the summer, because the summer is a great time to go to the library. It's air conditioned, of course, but you were talking about the children's programs as well. People can bring their kids to the library, and for teens, an adult reading program. So there's lots of things to do at the library, not just check out books.
Yeah, you can come every Friday. They have a story time, and there's lots for teens to do as well. And also another thing we were able to do that I didn't mention before was this past year we were able to give out a scholarship for a teen scholarship that were graduating high school. So if you volunteer at the library and you're a teen, we pick a child who has really just gone above and beyond for the library, and we're able to give them a scholarship for their freshman year in college. So we were able to do that, and hopefully we will expand that program next year. So
that's great. So now, how can people contact the Friends of the Library in case they want to volunteer, in case they want to contribute to some of the projects that you're working with?
The best way to get a hold of us is messaging us on Facebook.
So your Facebook is?
Friends of the Bella Vista Library.
Friends of the Bella Vista Library. Just type that into Facebook, and there you are.
Yep.
Or can they contact you through the library?
Yeah, on the library's main page, there's a Support Us tab, and we fall under that category.
That's great. That's great. Well, there's lots of things going on. You said that you helped contribute to the expansion. That was like $15,000 towards the expansion. That was from the Friends of the Library.
We've given hundreds of thousands of dollars for the expansion. The expansion is completely done. What we're doing this year specifically is the parking lot, and that's where we have been able to give the $15,000 this year.
The parking lot was $15,000.
Yeah.
And you also were responsible for the new sign.
Yeah, we give them new signage in the front this year. So that was a nice addition, because the front, I mean, it's drastically changed and it looks so beautiful. So I encourage you, if you haven't gone to see it yet, I would encourage everyone to do so.
Great. Well, I appreciate you being here with us today, and hopefully people will contact the Friends of the Library in order to volunteer or also to contribute to your fundraising project. But also, I'd like to thank the volunteers we have here at Bella Vista Community Television. Everybody here is volunteers in the studio, in the cameras, and guests and hosts as well. So if you're interested in volunteering at Bella Vista Community Television, you can go onto our website, or you can contact us through other ways with email or through the phone. So thank you for watching Bella Vista Community Television and Bella Vista and Beyond. I'm Mike Cleary, and for my co-host Nancy Noyes, I'd like to thank you for tuning in and have a fabulous day.
Remember, you can see this show on Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday at various times. This show may also be seen on YouTube.com by going to Bella Vista Community Television. This has been a presentation of Bella Vista Community Television. Thank you for watching us.